Okay, now I just wanted to share with you a analogy or a way to look at things as far as why we would have why we would do a morning meditation. Excuse my little scratch on my nose here. So, one thing that I like to discuss with clients is imagine that why would you do your morning meditation? And I think it's really helpful to consider that you, person that you are, consider yourself as a business. So consider the life experience is about the business of being you. So, in a business, we would have a successful business has, say, a CEO. Now, the CEO has that position because the CEO sits in a position where they can have a really big overview of the business and where it's going. They know all the details. They know why they're in business. They understand the bigger picture of the business. They understand the culture, the essence of the business. They understand all the different departments, what's needed. So when we look at the CEO, they are sort of sitting in a position where they can have the big picture. Then you would have the GM. Now, the GM works really closely with the CEO. The GM then also communicates a little bit with the rest of the departments, gives some guidance and some support. Then we have managers. Now, managers are really important in the business because managers take the information and put some structure into it and direct, make a plan and direct, and also create structure and order and systems in place. And then we have supervisors. Now, supervisors will make sure that each department has resources, make sure that everything is running properly, and just create funnel resources where they're needed. And then the end result of that is that there is a successful business that's running. Now, if we were to look at that from a humaning perspective as ourselves, so imagine that you have your higher self. Your higher self has the perspective. The higher self understands the bigger picture, understands where you're going, what it's all about, why you're here in the first place, what's the essence, what's the contracts that you have, what are the outcomes that we're desiring, all that sort of thing. And where are we going? What decisions need to be made in order to go in a certain direction? The next aspect of humaning is we have our intuition, we have our inner guidance, we have that sixth sense, that knowing aspect of ourselves. So that is coming from that higher self perspective, and then we get those cues and clues and hints and some subtle sort of knowing, understanding. And then we have our mind. Now, our mind is the manager. So the mind is very good at taking what's in front of it and understanding or putting some structure into it, doing something with that information, putting systems in place. Then we have our prana, our life force energy, which then provides energy resources for every single aspect of our body, of our mind, of our life experience. And then we get to be the business. We get to be the life experience. This is the final result. This is why we're in business in the first place, so that this aspect of me can have a life experience, that the business of me is the life experience. What happens is if we don't have the, say, daily board meeting in our meditation where we connect into the CEO and the GM, and we get the bigger picture and we get the intuitive hits, we don't get to that level. We then just go by default to the manager. So the manager is really good at working with what's in front of it and putting and reacting to what's there and doing what's needed in that level. But if the manager is trying to run the whole business, so if the manager is trying to do all the tasks, if the manager is freaking out about what's coming up ahead, or why we're even in business, or what else is supposed to be happening, or what's happening now, or where these resources go to, oh, we're running out of resources, or feeling low on energy, it's too much and it gets really chaotic. So the problem is that a lot of people are running their business with just a manager, rather than having an awareness and having that daily board meeting and checking in and tuning in with the CEO and the GM, sitting in stillness every day and just receiving those intuitive hits and tapping into the broader self and having that understanding of the broader self and the expanded version of yourself, which knows why you're even in business and what the intention is of this day. In business, what's your intention of this day? What are you trying to achieve and experience in this day? So if we're talking about the business of being in business, that's what we would want to know. Is like, okay, so how do we do that? How do we do this board meeting? So having our daily board meeting would give us an opportunity to understand, where am I going? What do I need to do today? And just that way the manager can calm down, doesn't have to stress out, only worry about what's happening today. I just have to take one day at a time because I'm guided, I'm supported, there is a bigger picture in place. Now, another way that we can look at being in business and why that's useful is to consider that when we're in relationship, we get into a relationship with other businesses. So if you imagine that somebody is having their daily board meeting and their business is in order, they are really clear on who they are, what their business stands for, what is the ethos of their business, what is the culture within their business, where are they going with their business. Imagine a person who's that together getting together with somebody else who's that together. So you've got two super successful businesses who are possibly on the same trajectory and on the same path, coming together and merging that business, then becoming a really successful, powerful business together. However, if we have a business that's just run by the manager, and then another business that might be run by the CEO, this manager is looking for a CEO. So there's an imbalance there, because this business who's in a manager will either cling on to the CEO business, or the CEO business might absorb the manager business or overpower the manager business or have to carry the manager business, rather than it being two successful whole businesses. The other thing is that if the merger is not a successful merger, they may come together and think they have two successful businesses, but this CEO business might think, well, my way is the best way, and this business might think that, and there might be this competition that ends up, or one tries to overpower the other. The other thing is you may only just get together because your logos look good together. You might not actually have two really successful businesses, but the logos look good together. So there's a superficial reason why those two came together, those two businesses. So it's just a fun way to sort of look at things. Another way in business is that this business might be quite powerful and driven, and they may look at this other business as a small business, and it's an acquisition that they add to their business portfolio. So this person might just be an acquisition, not an equal partner. Or it's quite a fun little analogy to work with, looking at it from business. But really, it's quite realistic too, because the other side of looking at it that way is that it helps you to take a little bit of step back and not be so emotionally engaged in all this life and humaning, even relationships. Like if we take the emotion out of it and look into the practicalities of it, like what would business look like if these details were a business, and would this business work well? Would this business business? Are these two businesses going on the same path? Is this business outgrowing this business? Was it a good merger, but is it time now to split the business? Is it a good merger to come together and to become a super business? So there's lots of different ways that we can look at that. But where it comes down to, where it starts, is your board meeting every day, your taking responsibility for the details of your business, for taking ownership of your business, the business of being you, and trying to find a way to keep growing and keep evolving as a business, upgrading as a business, and to get clear on who you are and what your business stands for. So, happy meditating.